Hey, do we have college football on Wednesday nights yet? When does that start up?
November.
Like,
Yeah.
there's some league that would shame itself to play on a Wednesday night right now just to be on ESPN. What's ESPN? Oh, they got baseball? Is that what's happening?
It's MACtion. Remember?
I know.
The MAC takes over Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and part of that also lines up with the college football playoff rankings release, which starts in late October and beginning of November.
So like a bad MAC game is just a backdrop for us to get our standings show?
Yeah, you've got to do the 30-minute rankings release so that you can like feed into what's going down into Calb, Illinois, with Kent State in town to play Northern Illinois, the Huskies, and the Flashes at 7:30.
There's a great. I don't know when this started. I only became aware of it last year, but the Twitter account, the College Football Sickos Committee.
Committee, yes.
It was fantastic. Just people that can't get enough of college football, no matter how bad or how obscure the teams may be. Chip Patterson from CBS Sports and the Cover 3 podcast just recently updated. Well done on the fly by the producer Dennis Cox. I know. He got it in real time. I know he got it. All right. Everybody's talking about App State this, App State that, but the ACC teams are undefeated. We're looking right past them. So right now, I want to ask you who's for real and who's for not real of the Big Four. I know we did a whole segment on App State, so just rest it, App State fans. You got to listen. This is a big market show, and we're talking big market teams. So let's start with the smallest of the four. Wake's 2-0. Sam Hartman's back. They are feeling that, I feel like NC State last year was playing the disrespect card. Wake is playing some strong disrespect card. They didn't get picked high in the ACC preseason, and people couldn't explain why. They feel like they've got a quarterback, they've got players, they've got receivers, they've got old dudes, they got a proven system. So I'm assuming that Wake is legit at 2-0, correct?
No, without a doubt. Okay. And they can score on anybody. I mean, it's the ceiling on Wake Forest success is always going to be determined by are you going to be able to win the physical battle up front against Clemson, which historically is no, but can you score on almost everyone? Yes. So I think that having Sam Hartman back so early is such a great positive to take away. And, after a little bit of a slow start, the offense obviously just put a big number up on Vanderbilt, but defense also gave up some yards too. It was within the context of a shootout with a very big lead, but you made a change at defensive coordinator. You brought in Brad Lambert, and there's supposed to be some things that were fixed on the defensive side of the ball. I can count on, much like, I don't want to spoil it, but much like I know what to expect from North Carolina, I know what to expect from Wake Forest. And whether or not it is for real or not depends on your expectations.
Real quick on this, Dave, is there any chance that Dave Clawson is entering Bob McKillop territory where he just realized this is going to be, I'm competing at a high level and this is the best fit and there's no reason to chase anything better than this? Or, he's been a guy at Tennessee. Is there any part of him that wants to see if he can make one more run at an SEC job or a Big Ten job that put him in a place to succeed?
Well, the Great West Durham, the mayor, was on this fine program yesterday, and he brought up a point that I've passed along as well. So if you didn't listen and check it out on the podcast, I can go ahead and tell you, just look at the programs where Dave Clawson has been a head coach. Because you're right about his time at Tennessee, but that was a very short tenure as an offensive coordinator. His head coaching stops, Fordham, Richmond, Wake Forest. These are small schools. These are smaller programs, and I think that Bob McKillop territory is a great place to be, where he could go down as one of the most beloved coaches in Wake Forest football history. And that, with the relationships that he's built up with the power players around Wake Forest, with the investments that he's gotten from the Wake Forest community, I kind of see him definitely being in that position where he is comfortable and he's going to try to continue to get better. I don't think he's going to be I don't think he's going to get comfortable in the bad way. I think he always wants to improve. Complacent. Yeah. Great word. Thank you, Hayes. But I definitely Bob McKillop territory where he can continue to roll off winning seasons in a great place where he's comfortable. I see that happening more likely than trying to go chase a Big Ten job or an SEC job.
NC State is 2-0. Close game against ECU, closer than they wanted, maybe closer than people who had high hopes for NC State would have wanted, although ECU may be a great team. They bounced back against ODU, and then obviously took care of business against Charleston Southern. 2-0, are they for real?
Not yet. Definitely not yet. I think that this against Texas Tech should be terrifying because Texas Tech is running a version of the air raid offense that Mississippi State was able to run successfully against NC State just last season. And Donovan, like, yes, they lose Tyler Shuck at quarterback, but Donovan Smith is just as good. And so I think this is going to be a real challenge for an NC State team that loves to handle its business with the defense leading the way and, the offense playing some complementary football. If the defense has a couple breakdowns against this offense, then all of a sudden you're going to really ask Devin Leary in this offense to have to score a bunch. Now, I think we've seen throughout Devin Leary's time that you throw him on the clock, you let him go a little up tempo, start taking advantage of having control of the game on the field in his hands. He's been able to be productive. He's been able to step up to the task. But I think that I cannot take anything from the Charleston Southern game. It was great for stat padding and making everybody feel good. But on Saturday night with Texas Tech in town, I think that offense presents some real challenges. It's an experienced defense, but if that experienced defense had some trouble against Mississippi State, might have some trouble against Texas Tech as well. I think that it is TBD on whether NC State is for real.
And then maybe the most fun are they for real question is North Carolina. I saw a GIF that described North Carolina's 3-0 start, and it was like there's like 5 cars parked in a row, and there's an open spot, in between them with like 3 on one side, 2 on another, and a car comes flying in and like wrecks into 3 of the parked cars, but happens to fall perfectly in the open spot. And it's like that's North Carolina like getting to 3-0. Are they for real? I mean, is it you could? The optimist could say college football is about offense. Go score points and let's see if your point at the end of the day. Let's line up our point totals and see whose is bigger. Is UNC for real with its let's outscore you offense?
I think UNC is exactly who it is. It is an NFL quarterback and a Conference USA defense. And as much as you can get out of a game with an NFL quarterback and a Conference USA defense, then yeah, like you could beat almost anyone. But if all of a sudden a couple 3-and-outs start stacking up on top of each other, that up-tempo offense puts the defense out there time and time again. If they don't fix some of the communication throughout that defense, like this is a team that's going to continue to give up a whole lot of points and a whole lot of touchdowns. So I'm like I said with Wake Forest, they are for real in that they are exactly what I expect. And there's a ceiling on that success because it's not fully well-rounded, but depending on what your goals and expectations are for what they're going to accomplish, like North Carolina looks like a really, really fun 8-4 team. And they're probably going to lose some games because of the defense and because the offense will sputter its wheels at some point and have a bad game and it'll cost them. But, it's a Conference USA defense with an NFL quarterback.
Wake State and UNC, not a surprise. UNC got there in shaky fashion, but certainly they're not shocking anyone to be undefeated at this point. Duke has probably been the most surprising team at 2-0. Are they for real beating Northwestern like that after Northwestern had beaten Nebraska, I believe?
100% for real. And it's honestly like pretty fun to see that Duke is out there exceeding expectations. And I'm happy for the roster just because we did that thing where everyone loved and still loves David Cutcliffe and appreciated and appreciates all that he was able to do for the football program. But sometimes the end of a tenure can be like really, really awkward. And it happens even with national championship winning coaches. The end of Bobby Bowden's tenure at Florida State was a little bit tough and a little bit awkward. And I think that to have that hanging over the team and to have that energy around the team, I think has to wear on you. And so for the juniors and the seniors on this Duke team, to see them playing winning football, to see them playing with sort of a different vibe around the program and on the sidelines, I think that is really, really cool. You nab a couple wins early. You got a really sort of dangerous Kansas team also with that road trip coming up in a little bit. I think that there's a chance that this Duke team, based on like the foundation that they lay right now, might take 3-4 years or so. But if they really like dial in to what Mike Elko's plan is, then I think that we could see the Blue Devils level back up and cycle back up so that Duke in a bowl game is not some rarity, pretty soon.
I hope no Duke fans take this the wrong way, but I honestly, it was one of the smartest things where David Cutcliffe came in and was like, yo, here's how we're doing scheduling. We're trying to schedule 4 wins, and then we're going to try and win 2 ACC games, and that's a bowl game. And so, like, how many? You tell me I got to play 2 Power 5 teams? All right, Kansas, Northwestern. Like, Vanderbilt's already playing. Wait, all right, okay, all right. Like, but I love it. Those are the teams they should be playing, Kansas and Northwestern, and go try and beat them and have yourself a good 6-7 win season. And if you're good enough, go win 6 ACC games and you'll win 10 games. So I love it. All right, I was going to play good line or bad line, but I don't want to force you through sitting through 3 lines. So let me just ask you about one specifically. And I'm still mad that there's no football tonight because I needed football to bet on and place your bets. Texas A&M just took it on the chin against App State, embarrassed themselves with their bad stand-up comedy at the Rebel Yell or whatever it is, and then the Yell, what's it called? Midnight Yell.
Weird.
And then even worse, it's like, whatever, it's your tradition, it's fine. People are going to mock it, especially when you lose. But then you compound it with the trying to pull it off the internet, right? But all that aside, doesn't really matter. What does matter is they lost to App State, meaning maybe they weren't the 6th best team in the country. And now they're playing Miami, who looks kind of good, is undefeated. They come in, Texas A&M 5-point favorites. Can you explain that to me?
Well, Texas A&M, as you remember, only had 1 offensive touchdown against App State.
One was a return.
A special teams touchdown to get the other one. The offense is absolutely dreadful. Everybody's up in arms about Jimbo, their $10 million a year coach who's out there supposedly as an offensive guru when he hasn't produced a good quarterback or a good wide receiver since Jameis at Florida State. The shine is really wearing off of this guy, no matter how much he can talk about his boots or pose with the right dog. I think this offense is in trouble and is not going to have a lot of success against Miami, but I don't like Miami's offense very much either. They're a little bit banged up at running back. They don't have good pass catchers. Look, the 5.5 is probably a good line because the most important number here is that under, because this game is going to be 21-17. This game is going to be like nothing but field goals and special teams touchdowns. I think this thing's a total rock fight between like a very good Texas A&M defense and then also a Texas A&M offense that can't get out of its own way. I would not lay anything above a touchdown with Texas A&M because I can't trust Texas A&M to score them. And then I ask this question a lot. Do you trust Miami not to go in Miami?
I know. I figured that was going to be the answer.
Yeah, I mean, because if Miami, I love doing the vibes. So if Miami shows up and Miami's it up, then we're talking false start penalties on offense, roughing the passer on defense, something
giving the game away. Yeah,
giving the game away. You had to stop on 3rd down, but we see the flag, over in the corner.
Yeah, you had the pick, but somebody took out the quarterback. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that would be not being ready for the situation. But if they can hold off on that sweet Miami smell that has lingered around the program for so long, then late in this game, those bad, frustrated vibes, I think, would flip it to a home field disadvantage. Yep. Like, let Texas A&M quarterback Haynes King throw 2 picks, no touchdowns, and have it be 17-14 in the 4th quarter. They will be playing tight. They will be playing not to lose, and the energy of the 100 and whatever thousand Texas A&M fans in Kyle Field will not be something that will benefit the Aggies. I mean, listen, listeners here know about when a building flips on you and the dread sort of sets in and impacts the play. So if Miami can hold off Miamiing it up at the beginning of the game, keep this low scoring, keep this tight, then I think that you've got the vibes advantage at the end. I think what you risk is falling in a deep hole where you're mad at yourself and Mario's flipping out because the team that he's trying to preach discipline to isn't playing disciplined. So it's an appropriate line because it's under a touchdown, and I don't trust either of these teams to score. So that's why I would say unders in the 40s for your shorties.
Chip Patterson, Cover 3 Podcast, CBS Sports. Let's go catch a game at High Park sometime soon.
Let's do it. Sounds good. Y'all be well.